They grew up without smartphones, without social media, without Google. Yet somehow they might be one of the most resilient generations alive. Born into a world of disco lights, vinyl records, and analog routines, their childhoods were shaped by visible rhythms, evening news broadcasts, rotary phones, and the steady pulse of community life. There was no internet to consult, and no constant stream of curated lives to compare against. Information arrived slowly, deliberately, and often with a local face attached to it. Technology was limited, but that limitation bred resourcefulness. When something broke, you learned to fix it or find someone in the neighborhood who could. When you needed to know how to do something, you asked a parent, a neighbor, or you figured it out yourself. Skills were learned by doing, not by watching a 10-minute tutorial. Outdoor freedom was the default. Streets, parks, and empty lots were classrooms for negotiation, risk-taking, and imagination. Scrapes, arguments, and epic games taught boundaries and consequences in real time. That unsupervised play fostered independence, a confidence in making choices without instant adult intervention. Neighborhood bonds mattered. Families shared news, goods, and responsibilities. Faces were familiar and reputations traveled. Social identity formed in person, your voice, your actions, your presence. Validation came from conversations and shared laughter, not from a like count or a follower tally. Major global events cut through daily life in clear, often stark ways. Economic shocks, political scandals, and international tensions were discussed at dinner tables and broadcast into living rooms. Growing up under those headlines cultivated a practical realism, an awareness that systems could fail and that one needed to be prepared. The psychology born from that era blends patience with pragmatism, independence with community-mindedness, and a comfort with silence and boredom that today's constant stimulation seldom allows. They learned to wait, to repair, to show up, and to carry memories in tactile forms, photos, letters, mixtapes, that anchor identity more than ephemeral digital traces. In short, the 1970s didn't just provide a backdrop, it taught a way of being, resilient, self-reliant, community-rooted, and quietly stubborn in the face of change. Kids in the 1970s moved through the world with a kind of unsupervised freedom that's rare today. Doors were left unlocked. Bikes disappeared down the street, and afternoons stretched into evenings without a parent hovering. They played outside for hours, turning empty lots and backyards into makeshift classrooms where disputes were settled on the spot and rules were learned by doing. When a problem came up, there was no quick search or tutorial to lean on. You figured it out yourself, borrowed a neighbor's know-how, or tried until something worked. There was no GPS to guide routes and no YouTube to demo a fix, so navigation, repair, and creative solutions were practiced skills, not downloaded conveniences. That upbringing left a distinct psychological imprint, clearer decision-making born from necessity, a higher tolerance for boredom because entertainment wasn't always on demand, and a quiet confidence in being able to handle things alone. Practical intelligence, knowing how to rig a bike chain, barter for a part, or jury-rig a solution with what was at hand, became commonplace. Above all, they learned through experience rather than screens, and that repeated rehearsal of trial, error, and eventual success forged a self-reliance that still shows up in how many of them approach problems today. Entertainment in the 1970s was a deliberate act, a book pulled open and read for hours, a radio tuned carefully for a favorite show, a vinyl record placed on the turntable and heard from start to finish. Television offered a few scheduled choices. Miss a broadcast, and you simply missed it.